Hello, everyone. Hi. So first thing first, if you're not on mute, if you could just please mute yourselves for a minute whilst we do housekeeping. Thank you. Okay, so welcome to NaSFA AGM. We've got okay, good. We're still admitting people. We'll just wait for a minute. Okay. Josh, if you can just give me a nod, or Callum, when we're stopping admitting people, so when we think that we're ready to start. NaSFA AGM. This is a bit of a different one than we've done before, but hopefully just as interesting. Okay, we're just going to wait a few more moments. Okay. Callum, is there anyone else coming in that you can see? Okay, right. Well, I think if everyone's happy to, we should start. So just a few things that we want to say. So I'm Becky, I'm chair of NaSFA. If we haven't met before, I've met most of you before, and it's been a bit of a turbulent year. So thank you for joining us at this AGM. It's going to be slightly different, but I think there are lots of things that we are excited to share with you. About to share for the year coming as well, and this really is your opportunity to kind of get involved and to have your say, have your voice. Yes, people can talk, although you are muted. Feel free, please, to raise your hand if you want to get involved, or just unmute yourselves and we can see you and then we can bring you in. This really is your kind of time. It's not just going to be us talking at you for the entire session. If you could please name yourselves with your full name and then your RAG as well. So I'll give you a few moments to do that. If you don't know how to do it, at the bottom of your screen, it will say participants. If you go onto participants and find your name, you can click on the few dots, it will say more, and you can rename yourself, just so that we know that there's one from each RAG in here and there's only one vote per RAG, because that's what we're looking for. And then once you've done that, once you've named yourselves with your RAG as well, if you can pop into the chat and nominate one voter from each RAG. So it can only be one vote per RAG. So if you have a little chat amongst yourselves and find out who's going to be the voter in that.
Can I just remind everyone that only the students or sabbatical officers can vote, so you need to have a student representative for your RAG to vote.
Yes. Is there anyone in here that doesn't have a student representative, but they're there on behalf of their RAGs? No? Okay, great, that's good. Brilliant. So we give you a few minutes to do that. Everyone could just pop a thumbs up when they've done it. That'd be great, because where I'm sharing a screen, I can't see everybody. So at the bottom of the screen, there's a little thing that says reaction. If you can just like do a little thumbs up. Cool, thank you. Kieran, thank you. Lovely. Yep, so once you've written, that's it, brilliant, thank you. And then committee, if you can just have a look and make sure that all the names are going into the chat as well of the voters, and then taking a note of those, that'd be great. So our minute taker today is Callum, and Callum's one of our support committee members. Also, I need to make you aware that we're going to be recording this AGM. If there is anybody that is unhappy with that recording, if you can put a thumbs down now, and we can give you another option. Can't see any thumbs down. If you do at any point feel uncomfortable about being recorded, thank you, Emily. Then what you can do is turn your cameras off and not speak on there, but you can put it into the chat, or you can message one of us privately, and we can do it that way. But the recording will go on YouTube and uploaded to our website eventually, so that we can, alongside the minutes as well, just to make it completely transparent. Okay. Lovely. Look at Callum's face now. Have we got everybody in the chat box that we need? Or Rebecca? Where's Rebecca? We've got everybody in the chat box for all the names of the voters. Give me a thumbs up, someone from committee, so I know where we're at. Thanks, Meg.
I think we're still waiting for a couple, but I think most people are here. I'm trying to like match it up.
Cool. Thanks, Rebecca. Okay, do we have any student reps from NTSU? You can unmute yourselves if you're the student.
Sam put
from
in the chat
NTSU.
that there is no student rep or sub can make it.
Okay, that's fine. So in that sense, then they won't be able to vote, but they will still have. I know, sad times, but feel free to speak. We just can't take that in terms of motions. Okay, are we happy to proceed, Rebecca? Yeah, lovely. Okay, great. I need to figure out how to use this on the slides. Cool. So what is an AGM? The AGM is something that we have to do and we like to do. It's really good practice in terms of our constitution. The previous minutes from last year's AGM, which was at Birmingham, can be found on the website. Now I've put it on the slides here and the slides will be available afterwards. If anyone would like to read the minutes during, I will also put it in the chat after we finish this so that everyone can have a little look at it. Yes, but an AGM basically is a chance for us to be completely transparent and for you guys to really hold us to account. Because throughout the year, there aren't those open opportunities where you can get us all in one space, apart from in the Student Ops Festival, if anyone attended that. So that was a really good one. Okay, how does it work? So motions are written ideas. Now, I apologise if I'm teaching anyone to suck eggs, but I really wanted to go back to basics on this because last year's AGM, there were several people that maybe were new to RAGs or new to being a SAB and various different things. So it's really important, I think, to be completely open and inclusive in this. So motions are written ideas that people have for the future of NaSFA. Some are strategic, so that's like big operational stuff. Others are more operational in the sense that they are things that we will do on a day-to-day basis. They're all important and will contribute to how NaSFA is led in the next year. Motions have been submitted ahead of time for consideration by the membership, but you are still able to submit a motion, any idea of what you think NaSFA can do in the future at any point before the closing remarks. So if you can message Rebecca Willing, he's like, yeah, she's waving. She's our lead on democratic engagement. You can message her privately on Zoom with any ideas of a motion that you want to submit throughout, and then we can bring it up at any other business at the end. And you'll find out more about how voting actually happens and the rules and regulations around that in a moment. Okay, so the agenda. So we're going to speak about who we actually are as a committee, what we've done this year, the fact that we need you to get involved, and then we're going to hear from some of the committee, and then we will go back to you. So it'll probably take just over an hour, I would say, unless we get a really contentious motion that we're going to be debating. But bringing that in, I would like to say that we do have time limits on things, so if we can stick to time, but Rebecca will explain that a little bit more in a moment. So who are we? Okay, so we did this. I don't know if, can you hear the sound on this one? Just let me know, give me a nod if you can hear the sound. No? Okay. Right, well, what I will do is send that around, but we did a Meet the Committee video, which will be available on YouTube at some point. So we have myself as chair. Mine is the only elected position. Everyone else is volunteers in various different ways, and they were kind of brought onto the committee. We had a rolling committee, which was passed at AGM last year, which was a way that we thought we could make it a bit more inclusive, a bit more kind of continuity going through, because what we were finding that from previous years, whether people would come in and if they couldn't satisfy the roles, they would be dropping actions and it was just becoming a bit cumbersome. So this year's worked really, really well. Correct me if I'm wrong, any of the committee members, but the structure that we've had has been really different and really new, and I think quite innovative. Yeah, and it's been a good way of doing things. So what we've done is split it into strands. Now this came from right at the beginning of the year. We sent out a Google form to all of the committee of people that wanted to be involved in the committee, and we asked for their skill sets. So we branched that into marketing, social media, accountancy and finance, governance and charity law, customer client member relations, and democratic engagement. So you can pick one of, you know, several different things. It's what you were interested in or what you thought you had a skill set in, so that we could understand the makeup of the committee. From that, I split them into streams. We call them streams, with a staff lead for each stream, and that was several different student committee members. So these are all of the staff leads from this year. So we've got over here, I don't know if you want to give a wave if you're in the chat. So we've got Josh. Where's Josh? There he is. Danny, we've got Jordan, we have Callum, and we have Rebecca. And Rebecca is, at this moment in time, kind of leading this whole AGM as the lead of democratic engagement. Okay, so underneath them, so we have our lovely, lovely volunteer roles here for the student committees. Now, the way that we have structured it this year is that the staff are on actually what they are, a support network. So our students are the ones, it's a student-led organisation. The students are the ones that are democratically making all of the decisions. The staff are simply there to guide. And it's worked really well. It means that we have some structure, and the staff, because they come from various different backgrounds within charity, within SUs, across the board, we've had a massive amount of skill sets to support the students in whatever they're doing. And because of that, we've managed to do some amazing things this year. Well, what have we done? So the first thing that we did was, in terms of social media, we have our social media queen over there in the form of Laura Carlin. Laura's an SU officer from Kent, and her and Josh and various other members of that stream in marketing have really taken the social media up a notch. So we've increased it by 318% in terms of post engagement, and that's across the platforms. So that's amongst Instagram, Facebook, and various other ones. We've had our YouTube channel starting up as well. So we've done fundraiser spotlights, where we've taken different rags from across the country and really highlighted what they've been up to and kind of empowering you guys and showcasing you. We also had our Student Opportunities Festival. So did anyone attend the Student Ops Festival? I know that several of you did. Yeah, that was amazing. We've had blogs as well from various different people across the sector, not just within committee, but other people that kind of we've reached out to, so that we can really spotlight different things that are going on that are relevant to you and can really support you. We've had committee member profiles as well, so you can get to know us a little bit better. Obviously, we've had the COVID-19 stuff that's happened. Now, that really knocked us for six, but actually it was the making of NaSFA in a way. Because we are within the charity sector, we realised that this was a really tough time for all charities involved, including SUs and including RAGs. So what we wanted to do was really sort of step up a gear and support the NHS in terms of what we were putting out, but also support our fundraising, our students to fundraise, and all of the charities that we're involved with as well. So we had bi-weekly RAG newsletters too, an updated website, which Josh Dickinson has absolutely done brilliantly on. So that's really, really good. And that's increased our engagement as well. And it's helped you guys to understand what resources we have available to support you throughout the years. So that's what we've kind of done. Now, that is a brief snippet of what we've done. I can't tell you how much work that took from the committee to pull all of that together, especially considering a lot of people have been not sure of their job roles in terms of furloughing with their actual full-time roles. So all of this is voluntary. And if you do work within an SU, it's been a really uncertain time and a really busy time. So honestly, congratulations to all of the committee. You've done phenomenally. So next year, what are we looking to do? So dependent on, we don't know how it's going to go, we want to look at a strategy refresh to follow the needs of the membership, feedback from members and committee to shape how NaSFA will operate. Now, both of those are really broad statements, but they've been, thank you, Laura, I know they're broad, you're nodding at me. Both of those are really broad statements, but what we need is your feedback to do that. So dependent on how this AGM goes, what motions get passed will really shape how I will write that strategy. I will put it through to the committee to see what they think about it, and it depends on where NaSFA is going to be in the next year. We also want to look into research into holding funds, because especially with the Student Opportunities Festival, what we've realised is that our hands are quite tied. Being an organisation or like a legal entity, we've really struggled to kind of do the day-to-day things. So, for example, we can't even access or deliver services without kind of any money, we can't hold money in any capacity because it would be illegal for us to do so. So we really want to look into that in the next year and become a legal entity, but that's easier said than done. So we'll have to figure out how we're going to do that. Obviously, the day-to-day runnings, we want to look into providing more resources for you all. That includes things in terms of diversity and inclusion, which I know is one of the motions that is passing today. We'll go, so the day-to-day runnings of that, and of course more engagement. But again, we want to hear from you as to how we do that best, what's relevant to you, how do you want to be engaged with, what's the best way we can do it, and what do you want from us. So how do we do all of this? We do need you. We are coming up now to election time, but our elections will be slightly different. So I know I pulled out all the best photos, guys, just saying. Being on committee is really good fun, and I genuinely think I speak for everybody here when I say that specifically in the last couple of weeks we've all formed a really close friendship in the whole committee, and because we've worked so closely together. It's something that is invaluable in terms of skill sets that you will gain, but it's also something that you make friends through and you network, and because we're all in the same sector and realistically we all are passionate about the same thing. I'm just looking at Callum's face there. It's brilliant. But yeah, so it's really something to think about getting involved with. So whether you want to run for the elected position, which would be chair at this moment in time, or if you'd like to just be on the student committee or the staff committee, applications for. So the dates and things are on the side down here. Rebecca will speak about that in a little while as well and just wrap that up. But please do consider it. And if you've got any questions, get in touch with any of us throughout this or afterwards. All of our contact details and things are on the website, or you can just message us on Facebook and Instagram and social medias generally. Yeah, we'd love to have you. Okay. So back to the good stuff. I am now going to pass over to our lovely committee members. So who's going first? I think so. I'm going to stop talking now, and we're going to hear about the Student Opportunities Festival.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming to our AGM tonight. I'm Megan, I'm one of NaSFA committee members. You probably, I've met a lot of you in one way or another through my time in RAG or through student ops and things like that. So I want to talk to you today about student opportunities. So a key feature of any RAG year is conference. A lot of you will know that, a lot of you have been involved in conference in some capacity over the past few years. And unfortunately this year, due to COVID-19, Lincoln were unfortunately forced to cancel the upcoming conference. However, at NaSFA, we still wanted to be able to offer you guys and the student fundraising community the opportunity to learn and develop and network with other people. So the Student Opportunities Festival was born. And we are so proud and honoured to have worked alongside such amazing other organisations from students as well as Organised Fund to bring you the Student Opportunities Festival. From starting to plan it on April 1st, we had weekly meetings with Committee for Student Ops to bring you a wealth of online opportunities from workshops, keynote speakers, and even yoga socials. And we were absolutely thrilled to have 1,300 attendees and 682 people attending across our 18 sessions. We're really, really grateful to the 23 speakers we had from a range of different organisations, including RAGs, charities, and obviously the NaSFA committee. A lot of people who spoke there are here today, so thank you very, very much for that. Following the success of the festival to offer more online opportunities, and this will be discussed a little bit later, including the President's Roundtable. This was a really successful thing we had in student ops. We had 20 RAG attendants, 20 RAG chairs in attendance, and also the Agony Aunt Q&A. We want to make these into bi-monthly events so we can continue to support everyone in the student fundraising world, as well as other things that we're planning, which will be announced in due course. But yeah, thank you so much. Student ops is really, really fun thing to be involved with this year. I feel really, really lucky to be one of the lead with other people in the committee. Sure, everyone else will echo the hard work that everyone put into it. So it's been really, really fab, and we hope that you enjoyed being there as much as we enjoyed putting it to you.
Thank you, Meg. I'm going to echo that. The Student Ops Festival, when it was first brought to us by Rosie from Organised Fun, we kind of went, that seems huge. How on earth are we going to do that? Before that, we were struggling to keep on top of our social media, for example. And everyone pulled it out of the bag. I think everyone came together as well, which was so nice to see. So where we've had the support staff committee and the student committee, we had them separate before, where we'd have different committee meetings and we'd kind of be working on separate things. That brought everybody together. So now, sometimes I forget who's staff and who student, because we well as a team. It's lovely to see, and you guys really pulled it out of the bag, and I know that the resources that we've got from that will be invaluable for the next year. So it'd be good to do something very similar in the following year. And at the president's meeting the other day, everyone was kind of in agreement that actually that was something that they definitely wanted, was online, a bit more inclusive, a bit more diverse, a bit more open to various different people, because obviously we're all from poor rags and poor SUs. We can't afford to send 6 or 7 people to conferences, yet for that we could send the whole committee if we really wanted to. Great, brilliant, but we need some money as well, so we should probably focus on that one first. Okay, so I'm going to bring in now Dennis to speak on behalf of all of the streams. So Dennis is one of our students, committee members. Yes, he is Democratic. Did you know Dennis is a SAB as well? Do we know that one?
and international.
So Dennis is going to speak on, give us like a roundup of everything that's been going on. If you've got any questions, please pop them in the chat so we can keep an eye on them, and then we can feed them to Dennis. Will have time to answer the questions afterwards, and what we can do is all of the leads are here, so we can kind of feed in then. I think it'd be a really good chance to kind of get some feedback from you and any questions you want answered. Take it away, Dennis.
Yeah, well, hi everyone, I'm Dennis. I will, as Becca just said, tell you everything that's been happening in all the students, well, in all of our streams. I will this out the statements that people have submitted, so sorry for the switch in styles between the paragraphs, and excuse me if I mispronounce any words. I am international, as Laura has kindly pointed out for me. So yeah. And it might be a bit like blocky because it's different people that put different statements into one. But yeah, this year has been a year of exponential growth for NaSFA. We have restructured our committee, co-hosted the Students Opportunities Festival 2020, and industry-leading attendees, reinvigorated our social media channels, made commitments to deep structural changes to combat a variety of social issues, and sought to recognize the fantastic achievements it is through the 2020 NaSFA Awards. All of these activities have brought NaSFA new eyes and ears, and we can't wait to build on this year's progress with your help and support. By the way, if I say anything and none of you can understand what I'm saying, please stop me and like ask me to repeat slower or something, because I'm really not sure if you can understand me, but I'll just move on. This year, the member relations stream, shout out to whoever is on the stream, please wave. Member relations stream have worked with the rest of the NaSFA committee to ensure that the student fundraising community is at the forefront of closely with the marketing and social media stream to set up a monthly e-newsletter and increase email communications. In addition, they also added to NaSFA database to ensure that we're contacting as many student fundraising groups, student unions, and charities as possible. Finally, they launched a survey at the beginning of 2020 to obtain feedback from student fundraising community. The feedback has informed how students want to interact with NaSFA, what they need support with, and what NaSFA should focus on moving forward. The outcomes of the survey helped inform the content included in the Student Opportunities Festival and some of the motions being raised during the AGM. Why can I not move it? Oh, I am. Okay. This year, we were unfortunately unable to make much progress in the finance and accountancy stream. The pandemic made it virtually impossible to look into the external funding, and we were unable to trial any income generating schemes as well due to the upheaval, whatever that means. Next year, the aims are to look at sustainable routes of again into possible external funding. NaSFA is currently running without any budget or funding, as Becky pointed out, and this severely limits our ability to make a real impact to support the student fundraising community. Although I feel like we did a pretty good job, even though we did not have any money. The training and development stream at NaSFA focuses on offering new opportunities to RAGs and other fundraising groups through training and guidance that you can effectively use during your committee year. This year, the stream wanted to be able to offer accessible trainings that everyone could attend and follow. This leads onto the Student Opportunities Festival, which we believe did all that and more. Training and development had an active role which helped to deliver the crucial training in line of the standard of the conference. Going forward, we want to continue to offer accessible training and will ensure to provide resources online, which will include virtual president meetings and agony-on sessions. Welcome any and all insight and comments from RAGs this year, and we hope to see some of you as members of our stream next year. Woohoo! Sorry, my laptop is just a bit slow, so I can't actually read the next session.
I think this is probably a good time then, Dennis, if we can take any questions. If anyone's got any questions for any of the streams that we've currently read out. So there's been a lot that's going on this year. A lot of it has been centered around our engagement and how we're reaching out to you and kind of building that branding back up again. So has anyone got any questions about what's happened in the last year and any comments going forward? If you guys could either put your hands up or pop it in the chat and we can bring you in.
And carry on reading. Okay. I'd also just remind everyone that like when we picked up as a committee last year, like we started from a brand new system, brand new like era on NaSFA, you know what I mean? So like a lot of what we did, as Becky pointed out, was creating and generating engagement and rebuilding like our purpose and what we are at all. But yeah, the social media and marketing stream have reinvigorated NaSFA digital communication channels, publishing stories of student fundraisers who have gone above and beyond during the COVID-19 pandemic, assisted with the promotion of the Student Opportunities Festival, coordinated with the customer-client member relations stream to send monthly newsletters to RAGs and welcome the contribution of charity sector professionals to student fundraising communities through a series of blogs offering advice and guidance to student fundraisers. During this difficult time, engagement with NaSFA social media channels was increased by 318%, as Becky pointed out. Next year's social media and marketing stream have a bunch of exciting initiatives planned to support student fundraisers and broaden NaSFA popularity and influence a wider fundraiser. One of which the stream has submitted a motion. Yeah, one of which stream has submitted a motion for approval at this AGM. So keep your ears wide open. The democratic engagement stream, me and Rebecca, in case anyone was wondering, it is fair to say, have started from scratch this year to ensure that NaSFA is a democratic and more or less representational body. The stream has done the following: create a process for submitting policy motions and overlook the running of it, including checking the legitimacy of submission, which we're yet to do. Preparing for the AGM and elections, which are soon to come, as well as other democratic processes, preparing feedback forms for the committee and the wider membership, which are also yet to come, to ensure the functioning of the democratic structures of NaSFA, and reinforcing the importance of the constitutional engagement with the membership in the running of NaSFA whenever it's appropriate. The stream has now established clear processes to fit into the new governance and structure of NaSFA. I also believe that from now on, like those streams could be merged in terms of governance and engagement, because the initial this year's like starting up from scratch phase is done. So governance and democratic engagement could work a lot more together rather than being two different bits. And that is everything that we have to update you on from the stream leads. Yeah.
Thank you, Dennis. Okay, so that was a lot of information, and it's quite a lot that we've actually done in the last year. I, for one, am extremely proud of it. I think that when we came to NaSFA this year, because the majority of us, if not all of us, were brand new to kind of the committee, it was a bit of a scrabble in the dark at the beginning. We've got new platforms that we use. So we use Slack, and we're looking at ways that we're using Google Drive a lot more now as well, which is kind of streamlining the way that we're working. that's really taken off, but it took us a little while to get our heads around it. Well, was a little bit new, a little bit different. Obviously, we've gone from regional, everyone that remembers regional last year, in the positions we had on committee, to completely generic committee positions. I think that it was a bit of a change, but it has worked really well. As you can see, we've achieved quite a lot, and the fact that you guys are here means a lot to us, because it means that actually we're engaging, we are reaching out, and we are kind of talking to the membership a lot more. So again, I'm going to ask if there are any questions or any feedback, anything you want to ask. LSU, I'm looking at you. There's two of you. You've got stuff to say? I'm going to call you out.
They've put something in the chat. They want to know if the summary of the motions will be available to read on the chat at all.
So we're going to go through, Rebecca, sorry, do you want to answer that?
So yeah, so basically the motions will be like the abbreviated, like the headline of it will be on the screen, so you'll be able to read it, and then it will be the opportunity for the person that proposed the motion or someone else to speak for the motion against. Well, obviously you have the opportunity and then a few minutes to vote, so hopefully that'll be enough time for you to like read it, process it, and then decide to vote. If it's helpful, I'm happy to put them in the chat. That's easy. It just depends how people feel.
I think it might be helpful just to do that.
Yeah.
And then we've got it in both sides. Okay, if there's any questions, so we've had quite a transitional year, a lot of things have changed, and we've been hearing a lot of good feedback. What we would really like to hear from you guys is what you think about the stuff that's been going on. Is there anything overwhelmingly positive about it or overwhelmingly negative? Is there anything at all you can kind of feedback to us? No. Okay, cool. I'm just going to take that as a positive. Great. Okay, so should we move on then? And we will, Rebecca, I'm going to pass over to you. So we're going to move on to the motions.
Sure. So I just started to explain kind of how it's going to work. So we'll have the motion will come up on a slide, and then people will obviously have the opportunity to read it. Dennis is going to read them out as they come up on the screen. Then either the person who proposed the motion or someone who wants to speak for the motion will have the opportunity to talk in favour for it for about 2 minutes. I'll be timing it, and after 2 minutes we'll mute you, and then we'll give the opportunity for somebody to speak against the motion. It can be anyone, and they will also have 2 minutes. There'll be the opportunity to propose amendments. You can do that through the chat, and you can send them. You can just let through the chat that you want to propose an amendment, and then Dennis will manage that as well. After we've gone through that process, and if we need to for the amendments, there'll be like a poll feature that pops up on your screen. Rosie actually has a test poll, I think, that we'll be able to have a practice on in a moment, and then we will kind of cross-reference the poll and the people who are from the different SUs, and then there's another. Okay. Thank you to the nice comment in the chat. Yeah, and then we will then you have the opportunity to vote for, against, or to abstain, and then hopefully the motion will be others. We have 5 motions that were put together, proposed before, but there is the opportunity, and we should have time to have a few more. So if people do want to propose anything, they can send it to me in the chat. But yeah, we'll have 2 minutes of speaking for and against, and then about 2 minutes to vote in the poll. Cool. Are we able to do the test, Rosie? I don't know if Rosie.
Indeed, it's all ready to go.
Okay, so should we do the test now?
Yeah.
Cool. So once we've done the motion, this will pop up on your screen, and people can vote, or should be able to vote for whatever. Oh yeah, look at you all. You're voting away. Perfect. Is there anyone that's having any issues voting? No? Cool.
So the vote needs to be students and sabbatical officers only, not spectating staff or charity staff. So as soon as I don't know how many people you have who are your voting attendees, and then if we have a number for that, we can see how many people have voted, and then we can end the voting.
Yeah. Callum has said that spectators can close the vote option and not vote by using the red button in the bar at the top. I'm not sure quite what that means, but that's okay, Vicky. We all love dogs.
I did the same, Vicky. I completely just went for it.
Cool. Okay, so I think we're ready probably, so then we can end the poll and we can, yep, fab. So we all prefer dogs. Cool.
And I can share those results now. So now everybody should be able to see them.
Cool. Fab. Okay, so
Does that work for everyone? Can everyone see it?
oh,
Lovely.
I've just realised I've done something silly. Okay, I'm just trying to put them into the motions into the chat so people can see it. But for some reason, I just sent Callum the link to the document instead. I have no idea how that happened. Okay.
This is the beauty of online stuff, isn't it? Things always go wrong.
I mean, it's a good job I just sent Callum the link to the document and not something weirder that I've copied pasted. I don't know what that could have been, but oh, it's not letting me. I think it's too long. So I managed to put the first motion in, but I think the second one is too long to be able to put in. So I'm just going to try and put a bit of it in to the chat.
Could we maybe do 2 motions before we do those 2 motions so that people at least have a chance to see what's coming up?
It's okay, I can do them all now. It's just that it
takes a little
You
while.
need to do it in bits.
Yeah, they're just on different slides, and the one that I just put on was too long, so I just had to take the top of it. Okie dokie.
So yeah, if for now people would just not use the chat for a little while, just so Rebecca is able to post all the motions without any interferences.
There you go. So if there's anything that you guys don't see there that you want to propose as a motion, you can just send it to me. You can use the little blue tag above the chat and change it to Rebecca and then send them directly to me. Cool. Where did the presentation go? Okay, cool. So do you want to start, Dennis?
Yes. So I'm not sure why I am the person to read everything because I'm definitely the least qualified for that, but oh well. The first motion is proposed by Rhiannon Moss from Carnival Rag. And yeah, the little introduction is here. National Student Fundraising Conference is staple of the student fundraising calendar, providing a chance for groups to network, learn and develop. I propose that the relationship between NaSFA and the hosting group is formalized so the roles and responsibilities are clear, leading to a higher quality conference. Rhi, do you want to elaborate on your motion and say everything you want to happen?
Yeah, so hey, I'm Rhi. I'm the president of Carnival Rag and maybe more relevant to this motion, the co-chair of the National Student Fundraising Conference 2019. So I'm proposing that the relationship between NaSFA and the National Student Fundraising Conference hosts is formalised such that responsibilities are clear, leading to a higher quality conference. This proposal stems from the fact that the current relationship between NaSFA and the host group is unclear, which in previous years, and as I can say from experience, has resulted in tension, stress and disagreements. Ultimately, this unclear relationship has not benefited the delivery of the National Student Fundraising Conference. By formalising this relationship, there will be clearer accountability and responsibility, resulting in a better conference for all. In addition, this year's Student Opportunities Festival has shown the ability of NaSFA to support the National Student Fundraising Conference. This year's sessions were delivered by a wide range of charity professionals and RAG members. These sessions were relevant to the current context we find ourselves in and showed the power NaSFA has in reaching out to the wider fundraising and student opportunities community. Ultimately, the outcome of this motion would see NaSFA formalise the relationship between itself and the hosting group, giving more consistency year on year. This does not aim to remove responsibility from the hosting group, but instead aims to ensure that NaSFA has a sustained and supportive involvement. This involvement would include, but would not be limited to, the facilitation of the annual handover process, marketing responsibilities, support in organising sessions and talks, as well as responsibility to ensure the conference is relevant and accessible to the entire student fundraising community.
Seconds left, that was great. Cool.
Can I stop? Okay, fine.
Oh, sorry, did you have more to go?
Only a sentence, but
Go.
okay. Having been the host of the National Student Fundraising Conference and a member of the NaSFA committee, I believe that NaSFA have the ability to deliver this motion and that this motion will lead to a more inclusive, diverse and well-rounded conference. Sorry, I misunderstood.
No, that's cool. Okay. Fab. And is there anyone that wants to speak against the motion?
Do you want us to just put exactly the outcomes that Ree just mentioned in the chat? I just did it anyways. So you can just take them in.
Does anybody want to speak against the motion? Does anyone just want to fancy like to practice their debate skills?
You can also say anything in favor if you really want to, if you think it's a really great idea.
I think it sounds like a good idea.
Thanks, Hetty.
Yeah. Okay, well, no one wants to speak against it. Do we just vote? Let's just vote. I think. Want to practice? Anyone want to practice a little? No? Okay.
This is a lot more positive than last year so far, not gonna lie.
Can we do virtual AGMs all the time?
Cool. Can we have the first vote then, please? Rosa?
Just a reminder that only the nominated student people can vote.
Cool.
Otherwise, click the cross at the top left corner. The red one.
So we'll give everyone unless everyone votes. I think we've got 14 people who are 14 chats that are eligible to vote. So we have a few more people, I think, that are yet to vote. But we'll give everyone 2 minutes, and if people don't
just remind people that if they don't want to vote for or against, they please abstain so that we know who's voting in what way.
The air is thick with tension. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay, guys, we've got 10 out of 20. If you are the voter, please vote now. Even if you don't want to go for or against, please just abstain. Another 30 seconds.
Yeah. We should have the countdown music. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10.
This is so exciting.
Actually, so this was obviously now. So I counted 14, but I actually think I might have made a mistake, and I think that everyone's voted. So this one is good. We'll go ahead with this one. Yay!
Has it passed?
I
This
will
one's passed.
end the polling. Would you like me to share the results, Rebecca?
Yeah, go wild.
Okay. Ta-da!
Ooh.
So I think basically I counted 14 people who I thought were students, but then 10 people put their names in at the start. So we're going to go with this. So we'll go with 10. Great news. Next one.
Hold on, Hetty's got her hand up.
Oh, sorry, Hetty.
No, she was clapping.
Oh.
Oh, I see.
Like that.
Cool. Okay, do you want to go to the next slide? Do you want to do the next one?
Please. Also, Rebecca, actually, I was just thinking, you know, when the next person talks, do you mind putting the thumbs up when it is 20 seconds left, just so it doesn't, scare them?
Yeah, sorry.
No worries. Yeah, so this motion is proposed by Rebecca. I was going to say Becky, but it's just so formal. Rebecca Thompson, our chair. It's proposed to further change structure, include second position of vice chair, basically. But I feel like Becky will elaborate on this. And your 2 minutes start now.
Thank you. Okay, so National Student Fundraising Association has grown as an organisation in the past year. The restructure of the committee from the student committee with regional roles to a two-tiered committee, including a staff support network and electing only one position in the form of a chair, has increased the effectiveness of NaSFA in several ways, not least the awareness of the organisation across the sector and its relevance to student fundraising. This motion proposed a further change to the structure and including a second elected position of vice chair, subject to change in the naming. This position will assist the chair in workload and delegation of authority, both on the committee and with external partners. Due to the nature of a voluntary role, the position of chair requires an individual to work full-time, as well as commit hours to NaSFA. NaSFA, as it has grown, has become more time-consuming than in previous years, and the need of the organisation is for more than one person to hold an elected position for continuity. The feedback from the current 2019-20 committee is that a co-chair would aid the chair in the general running of the organisation, which would increase the capacity of the committee. The role of co-chair or vice chair would also support the wider committee alongside the chair and be held accountable for NaSFA moving forward. Passing this motion would instruct the student committee of NaSFA to hold elections for a co-chair alongside the chair of the organisation in 2020 and every year concurrently. This would also need to be reflected in an amendment to the constitution by the committee, passed via formal processes as detailed. That's me done, Dennis.
Thank you. Basically, yeah, you can either vote in support of also having an elected vice chair / co-chair, whatever, for NaSFA committee, or not to have one. Just a reminder, apart from the chair, currently all the positions were voluntary, so you opt in, opt out. Now you would add another elected vice chair position to that.
I think it would be really useful in this one, Dennis, to hear some arguments against, because this is, I think this is a bit of a contentious one. It would completely restructure the way that our committee is democratically elected. So it's quite an important decision. This isn't something I want to take lightly.
I agree.
Would anybody like to speak against the motion?
Or ask for clarifications?
Oh no, can you mute yours? Oh no. Turn up the volume. So sorry about that. We've got our laptops next to each other because we couldn't hear you on mine. You mentioned that it would have to completely restructure the NaSFA committee if you were to add the position of vice chair or co-chair. Could you just give a bit of clarification on that and exactly what it would involve, please?
So I think we have 2 elected positions, whereas at the moment there's 1. So in terms of accountability, at the moment it falls to me. However, with 2, we'd have to split that and delegate that in terms of the authority, the delegation of authority, and understand really what that would mean for the committee. Also looking at the constitution would need to be amended so that we are structurally sound in that. It wouldn't be a huge overhaul in terms of the other positions. The rest of the committee could stay exactly as it is in terms of voluntary roles, but it would mean that a co-chair or a vice chair would kind of share that support structure. And I think the rest of the committee were quite supportive of that this year, because especially running Student Ops Festival, when you're trying to do 10 different things at once, we needed a second person to delegate that authority to.
Can I jump onto this clarification a little bit? So just to remind everyone, so last year, the whole complete structure of NaSFA was re-voted at the AGM, and it was changed to being a student voluntary opt-in committee with 1 elected chair, and then supporting staff committee that are applying, and they're also voluntary. So everyone on either of those two committees can opt in or opt out throughout the year just by application, and opt out just by handing a written notice. The chair is obviously elected by all rags and stuff. So they kind of hold that accountability throughout the year. They can't, well, I guess they can resign, but it's obviously not just as easy of a thing for them, really. So now there will be 2 of those.
The difference in that, okay, so if we're talking about the difference between, for anyone that doesn't kind of know, would be the structure of VNCing, which is a vote of no confidence. So for example, if someone wanted to, you know, for me to leave the committee, it would need to go through quite a strategic process of VNC to get rid of me, whereas everybody else is opt in, opt out. So it wouldn't change the democratic structure, Hetty. It would simply change the fact that we'd have 2 elected positions, which then would need to change the constitution.
In terms of like the wording for it, I think that a co-chair would be better than a vice chair, because I feel like the responsibility would be separated if they were co-chairs, rather than still having a chair and then someone not below them, but if you get what I mean, in that kind of, I think a co-chair would work better than a vice chair, because you could obviously then like split the streams between you. But I think if it was if the wording was vice chair, then I think there would be a bit of like ambiguity about where they stood in terms of against the chair, against other members of the committee, etc.
Can we take a vote on that then, just to see if we want to amend the motion to say co-chair instead of vice chair?
Yeah, do you want to, so I started a timer because I felt like that was Meg talking against the motion. So I don't know if Meg has anything else. Do you want to do like a 2 minutes, or are you okay with that?
No.
Cool, okay, so we can stop that. We can, Rosie can whip up a poll.
Wait.
So just while I whip up a poll, can you clarify what the poll's saying?
So
Sure.
this poll to say amending co-chair to being vice chair, and then
Other way around, Dennis.
Yeah.
Sorry, vice chair to co-chair, and then poll to pass the motion after that.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so it says vice chair to co-chair.
Just to remind everyone, I am international.
And that's fine.
Okay, so we've made some comments. So, Emily, I can unmute you if you want to speak. But Emily,
I unmuted myself before, and then it continued. So I thought I'll just put it in the chat. I'm not sure how to raise my hand, but yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Really, that I agreed with the co-chair, just because of clarification. I think that it'd be easy to talk about what's expected of a co-chair as opposed to a vice chair.
cool. Right, Rosie's made the poll.
Oh, sorry.
Question, does it mean we'll have chair and a co-chair, or just 2 co-chairs?
2 co-chairs, I imagine. I might have made that might be an unreasonable assumption.
Yeah, 2 co-chairs.
Hold on a minute. So Hetty wanted to speak. Just bring her in quickly before we take that.
Hi, sorry, can we just clarify? Is it going to be 2 co-chairs, or is it going to be still a chair and a vice chair?
Okay, so the original motion was that there would be a chair and a vice chair, and then Meg suggested an amendment, which it would be 2 co-chairs. So first of all, we're going to do the amendment vote to change it to co-chairs, and then because I guess the other parts of the motion, we will then vote on the motion as well, if whether we need to go back, and then basically based on that vote, we'll then know what we're voting for. I don't know if I've explained that well.
No, was it Emily that spoke before about disagreeing with the co-chair thing?
So both Meg and Emily spoke.
No, yeah, I agreed with the co-chair. But I was just wondering if there was time to maybe hear whether that would make much of a difference to the chair role. Like, what were your thoughts on that just before we vote on it? Is all.
Yeah, we can do that.
So
I don't have any opinions, Becky.
From my perspective on that, a slight difference as to whether it was you had an elected chair and then you had an elected co-chair, so you would literally have like that support structure. I think that moving forward as an organisation, we need that clarification. We can't have one person as the overall authority on that. I think that we do need to split that amongst 2 co-chairs, especially having 2 committees, a support committee and a student committee. I think that'd work really well. I would support the fact that we have 2 co-chairs as opposed to a chair and a co-chair.
Okay, great.
Okay,
so
think,
obviously we've been so busy this year. I'm sure a lot of you can agree in previous years there hasn't been as much activity from NaSFA as there has been this year, especially with developing student opportunities, and the motion has just passed about NaSFA having a more engaged role in conference. I think having that, Becky, I'm sure you can agree, it's been a very busy year for you as chair, and it's been a lot for one person to take on. So I think having that dual responsibility will work really, really well.
I would like to say though that maybe this isn't an AGM thing that we would pass right now, but I think it's amongst committee, if this did pass as a motion, that we'd then need to sit down and what the responsibilities are of each co-chair, because it might be a case that we would split that up and say that one chair would be completely in control of like all conferences, for example, or the other chair would be for day-to-day relations or whatever, however we were going to split it. I think that's a conversation for another time that we would involve the wider membership in if this motion does pass.
Cool.
Can I just clarify something? Sorry, I couldn't work out how to raise my hand either. They would both be student elected, not one staff or student. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
To raise your hand, just so people know, if you look at the bottom of the screen, there is like the reactions, which has a smiley face in it. And if you click on that, there is a clapping symbol and a thumbs up. So I don't know if that, like, I actually can't see how people can like actually raise their hand for that.
Should be in the participants list. If you go to your name and there's an option to raise a hand. Sorry, I've now found it.
Okay, mine doesn't say that, but I don't know if it's because I'm a host, so I couldn't find that. Okay, cool. So we'll go on the first vote. So we'll obviously vote on changing it from a vice chair to a co-chair, and then we'll vote on the original motion, which I don't know if that's a bit academic, but because there's some stuff about changing the constitution, we'll do that as well. So can we go on the first poll, please, Rosie? Cool. So we'll give people 2 minutes to vote. And I think we could have 10 votes now. That's what I was trying to say before. Okay, we've had 9 people vote. I do think oh yeah, 10. Okay, cool. So we've got 10 now. Fab. So I think that, okay, so we can end the poll and then share the results. So I think I've done that right. Can you all see now the poll?
Yes. Cool.
So we have that amendment will be passed. So we would now vote on the motion. Oh, great, I can do it myself. So then, yeah, we've now voted on that amendment. So now we'll vote on the original motion, which will say, imagine it says, instead of vice chair, co-chair. Okay, so we'll stop that one. And then I feel like I've got that far, Rosie, but I'm not sure I know how to do the new poll. Do I do this one? No. Oh, no. Launch the new poll, please. You gave me so much praise for managing to do that last bit on my own, but I think that was my limits of my skills. There we go. And so now we will, instead of voting on vice chair, we're obviously voting on the co-chair. I do think we have a couple more that can vote. We've got one that's abstained. Okay, I think we have. Okay, there we go. Cool. So the motion has been supported, obviously, with the amendment as well, and then one person chose to abstain. So that one is also stop sharing. Cool. Fun. Okay. Are we ready to go on to the next one? Don't know who can do the clicking.
Rebecca, is it not you?
I can't click the slides. I think it's Becky that's screen sharing.
Oh, sorry. I was so confused.
And just a quick reminder here, guys, if anyone does have any other motions that they want to put in, and feel free to put them in now, and you can just send them directly to me, and we should have time to put them in at the end.
Yes. Okay. Next motion is proposed by Laura. It's to rebrand NaSFA in order to support our new identity and have a greater appeal to our primary target audience. The current NaSFA brand is outdated, clunky, and to put it bluntly, just not cool enough. So Laura, do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so like you said, we're not cool enough. So Josh and I have spent the last year, me a little bit less, trying to engage people, and we've been struggling with, like Dennis said, this clunky kind of brand that is NaSFA. The colours are hard to work with sometimes. We find a lot of rags are red and purple, but we're orange and blue. So we're finding it hard to like do stuff. The website is blur, the software is blur. And now that we're finally getting the engagement up, like a few weeks back we had it was actually 500% up on engagement. I can't remember if it was Instagram or Facebook. And we feel like we would achieve that greater with a new look, a new identity, which would be branded with volunteers and people who are good at that kind of stuff, and just be proud of kind of who we are. So the rebrand would include a new NaSFA logo, one that we don't have to copy and paste off of old documents and won't be blurry. New branding guidelines so we can be adventurous and have some fun, and a new website because, as I said, it's blur. I'll be nice with the wording. But like it says on the actual motion, we'll have consultation with the chair, the social media and marketing stream members, and recruited graphic design volunteers. I'm happy to take any questions.
Cool. Does anybody want to speak against the motion or to LSU? Are you speaking? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So I'm not necessarily like speaking against it. Obviously, like the branding at the moment has become quite well known. So like, how will you ensure that there is like some continuity between the old brand and the new brand?
I think that's an absolutely brilliant question. And I think that's exactly where RAG volunteers, anybody who wants to be involved, kind of comes into it, because like I said, I'm having to copy and paste old NaSFA logos from one document to the next. And I do think a lot of that engagement has come from the fact that, not to trump my own horn or whatever you say, but I've had to message RAGs individually and get them to follow our page and to give us stories to share. And it's not been that engagement has come for any reason that's already there. It feels like we've really had to seek that. So I feel like if we did this kind of rebranding with kind of our brilliant volunteers, everyone who wants to be a part of it, then we'll have this new thing to start from, and we'll carry on doing what we do, where we direct people to the page. I don't know if that answers your question, but I feel like it's active kind of communication we've been doing recently, and I think we'd love to keep that up.
Yeah, that really helps. Thank you.
I can't raise my hand either. Can I speak quickly?
Of course.
Okay, so I am neither for nor against this necessarily. I think I'm kind of in the middle. I think my apprehension comes from, similar to LSU's point of like the brand awareness and stuff, but more about do we need this? Is this necessary? Like, is this something that is going to be a completely unnecessary task that we're going to spend a lot of time doing when we should be putting that time and effort into creating resources, for example? It's simply a question. I'd like to hear how you would answer that. Do you think it's necessary, and what would be your dream and vision for it?
Yes, I'll ask Josh to jump in a moment. But I think for me, it's, being able to start with something new. We're having to, like, I will return to the fact that we use, like when I was doing the nominees documents, I was having to make the logo smaller and smaller just so it wasn't blurry. And I think if we were able to start again, then obviously we have something we can be proud of, it's coming from us, and we'll be able to save it in a way that doesn't get lost and we're having to not copy and paste it. Also, what was the next bit? Do I think it's necessary? I do think there is that part of, like, we have something here, but I don't think it's really kind of identifiable with a lot of RAGs, especially when I was part of a RAG. I didn't get NaSFA. I didn't see the identity naturally. And I do believe if, you know, we have a social media team, like Josh is brilliant. I try my best. And I do think with volunteers, as well as just having advice from the rest of NaSFA, I do think it's something else from anywhere else. I don't know what else kind of moving forward. We've got the awards and a couple other things, but where would, especially like mine and Josh's time go? Like, Josh, if you want to jump in case you go, Laura, I have loads on. Shush.
Yeah, no, happy to jump in if you want me to. Just to speak on the points that have been raised, it's a completely valid point that the NaSFA brand, as it currently is for logo, etc., is recognisable to some RAGs and student groups across the country. But from a marketing communications perspective, and as somebody who has worked professionally in these areas for various different charities and organisations, a rebranding, if it's communicated in the right way, will not generally jeopardise the reputation or the reach of a company or an organisation or a non-profit. So from the marketing and social media standpoint, we would need to ensure that one, it is communicated properly, and also to touch on some of the points that Laura has raised. You know, do we think that it is necessary? Personally, I would think that it would be a very valuable use of our time, just because, as Laura has already mentioned, the current brand, I think there's definitely an argument to be made that it doesn't scream student friendly. You know, it, like, from my perspective, especially when I was a student, it appeared, you know, very formal, very clunky, and not very, you know, appealing to the eye and somewhat engaging with students. Obviously, I'm sure one or two people might have a disagreement with that. And regarding the website as well, for example, I've spent hours working on it, and to put it, you know, bluntly, it is the most terrible software I have ever worked with in my life to try and rebrand or redo a website. It's just, it's outdated. We can't even really, you know, it's such a struggle. And to implement some of the functions on there, you need to go through hours of tutorials as well. You know, Rosie from Organised Fun has experience with this platform from, you know, her time on the NaSFA committee and US as well. You know, and if we were to make that investment, I think honestly it would be worth it for NaSFA as a whole. I know I've rambled on. I'll shut up.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
Vicky's got her hand up. If we could pop over to Vicky. Sorry, Josh.
Yeah, I just had a couple of questions. I'll ask them both at once. Sorry, I've turned my video off because I'm actually tidying my room as I listen. Lockdown life. So the first one is, I'm again not saying that I'm kind of completely for or completely against. What's the logic behind a full rebrand rather than just a brand refresh with a new website? And secondly, how long has the current brand been in place, and what was the work behind the current brand?
So Josh, we've got one other question that's kind of popping up in the comments, just asking if this is already, if there's a new, is there a plan for a new brand already, or is it just a motion to create and then implement? So I don't know who can take those, and then I think we'll.
Oh, sorry, Laura would have to be answering questions,
okay,
just because
right.
It's her motion.
Really quickly, just about the one in the chat. Yeah, no, we've not even thought as far as kind of, because we do promise that, you know, the people who are our audience would be involved in this process. You know, a SAB and then a staff member, we shouldn't be the ones deciding what NaSFA looks like explicitly as you go on our website and Instagram. We want you to be involved. So no, there's not a new brand already. It is just the motion to kind of allow us to discuss with our audience and so on to get this brand up and going. And I personally don't know, but I think Rosie just said, yeah, the brand's been roughly from 2014. And I can't remember the last question, I'm really sorry.
Why a rebrand rather than just kind of a brand refresh and a new website?
I think I'll speak on behalf of Josh and say, just again, the website is just way too hard to work with. And I don't really know about refresh versus I don't know what you do differently for
Becky
refresh
is
versus
she's able to help if you want to pass to her, Laura.
Yeah, Becky.
Vicky, I wanted to sort of put your mind at rest a little bit with that. I think in terms of a refresh and a rebrand, the way that our branding has worked, it came from NUS, and we had a lot of support from NUS. So all of our documents are almost locked. So a lot of the logos and things that we're trying to get to are in different file formats. So if we were going to do a rebrand or a refresh, we'd need to basically do a whole rebrand, because you can't do half without the other. That's just a really technical problem, and something that we've inherited. So we're kind of passed over. The same with the website, it was held by NUS, so that's why the software's so clunky. My issue with that would be that that would cost us money. We cannot hold money, and we don't have any right now, so that would be a tomorrow problem. But I think you've kind of answered my question that I had, that the apprehensions I had in terms of should we do that. If the feedback from the membership is yes, they want that, I would support that motion.
I just said, on like a closing note, I just want to say, like, imagine doing anything from a poster to a Facebook banner to a post on Instagram, paste or crop an old document, and having to try, like, I don't know about Becky, but when I've tried to do a PowerPoint, I've had to screenshot the old thing, put a white banner over whatever writing's there, and start again, because we don't have that like saved on like a PDF or just a normal document. Like, I can't access it, and it's becoming near impossible to do anything good looking.
So Vicky, have you still got your hand up, or have you is it just that the thing is still there? No, okay, that's cool. So Ree has put her hand up, and then I think, unless anyone wants to suggest an amendment, we'll vote. I'm just longer. Are you ready, Ree?
Yeah, so Becky, you kind of touched on this, but do you think we have the resources to rebrand? Because as you mentioned, they often cost money.
I don't think that we have at the moment, unless we could find it for free, a website redesign. But I don't think, or a new website platform rather. I think we could potentially redesign the website as is. We just need to figure out how to do that with the software. I think a rebrand is absolutely, we can do that. It's within our means to do that.
There has been a suggested donation for a new platform web software as well, in case we wanted to go down that route.
Okay, fab. So there's been quite a lot of chat around that one. If anyone has anything, if anyone wants to suggest any amendments, speak now or forever hold your peace. And if not, we will go for the vote. Okay, let's go for the vote. Can we have the vote, please, Rosie?
If I could also just remind people that because we're voting on it, if it does pass, like regardless if we have or do not have resources at the moment, like it will we'll be obliged to find resources and figure out how to make it work, because that's what the policy is.
I'll be unemployed in a month's time.
When I say we, I mean the next NaSFA committee, actually.
Okay, we still have a few people left to vote. I know that someone has left, so I think we're only waiting for 2 people to vote now. Have another minute.
Again, just a reminder that if you don't have any strong feelings, please abstain.
People are really thinking hard on this one, aren't they?
Because they're worried I'm going to doodle all over it.
Okay, so I think I mean, I believe only one person has left, but that means that somebody didn't vote, but we'll share the results anyway because it would have passed anyway. So we will go with that one. Yay. Patience, Laura.
Lovely. Let's move on to the next one. I think, Rebecca, if we can just kind of make it stricter with time or something, just for now. Because I'm worried that it doesn't drag forever.
Okay.
It's fine. I'll speed through my one. No dramas.
Have you got the next slide up, Becky?
Yep, we're there. Okay, so this one.
Is it changed for anyone else? I can only see Laura's.
I can only see Laura's.
Oh, hold on. I have changed it. But I think sorry, I paused it. Okay, so are you ready for me to speak on this one?
Yes.
Oh yeah, one sec. Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once. Let me turn my timer on. Okay.
So I mentioned this one at the President's Roundtable, or the President's meeting. So the accreditation mechanism for challenge partners. So to hold challenge partners accountable, we need to support student fundraisers in their relationship with challenge event partners. This motion is to establish a mechanism to encourage greater student-led accountability for student challenge event partners. This accreditation mechanism will, 1, demand student challenge event partners adhere to defined standard of supporter care, environmental, ethical, volunteering and sustainable travel policies, be adopted by student challenge event partners to show support and solidarity with the health, well-being and general interests of student challenge event fundraisers and local communities or countries where the challenge events take place. And 3, be written in collaboration with RAGs and student groups across the UK. So this is something quite important. I think it would help both student membership, but also help RAGs to determine who is and who isn't good to work with. Any questions?
Clarifications? Does it mean that we need Rosie to whip out the poll?
That's really quick. Has no one got any questions about this? Oh, hello, LSU.
Yeah, sorry, we just wanted to ask, how would this be like done? Is it, would it be like, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. So would it be like surveys, or would it be something that we can kind of quantify, or will it be like just more about our own experiences? Like how will that document, that accreditation come together, basically?
I'll be honest, I don't know. I can't answer that because it needs to be committee based and from feedback from the membership. However, we have an idea of a structure that's worked in other areas, which may be both a qualitative and a quantitative side. So you might write in with your experiences, and we also have a survey to back that up as well. But it will be in like 3 key areas, for example, of like ethical, diverse, and health and safety, or something like that. It will kind of fit different things. Again, that will be decided down the line. This motion is purely to kind of start working on an accreditation structure, what that looks like in principle, rather than the finer details of it.
Also, if my understanding is correctly, if we do use surveys, no one is going to be like bait it out to anyone, you know what I mean? Like everything that people need to this is not going to be like, oh, you know, LSU have said that they don't like this challenge provider.
Don't snake us out, Dennis.
Cool. So does anyone want to talk against the motion or have any suggestions for amendments? I don't see any raised hands. Okay, so I think we are ready to vote. Wonderful, thank you. Gosh.
Where has everything gone?
I think 2 people might have left the call, but I need to check in a sec. So I'm still going to just give us 30 more seconds.
Apologies, I was having technical difficulties then.
Okay, I think 2 people have left. Okay. We're going to end the poll. Oh. Wonderful. Okay. Oh, so everyone can see that one. So the motion was passed. Oh, was it? Yeah. Well, wait 1 minute, because we had 10 and now people have left. Yeah, it will still be passed. Okay, it's passed. I don't know what happened in my head then. Someone in my house is playing music really loudly and that's distracting me. Okie dokie. Do you want to go ahead?
Can we move on to the
next one? Yeah. Cool.
Becky's audit today with all the motions. Cough again?
Yeah, yes, that one over Becky.
Okay, so this was following on from the Student Opportunities Festival and the massive success that was the Student Ops Festival. We want to commit, I would like this motion to pass so that NaSFA commits to every year hosting at least one annual online event. So this is for inclusivity, effectively for the students and the SG officers that want to attend. So like I said at the beginning, it's easier to be able to send an entire committee to an online conference than for free than it is to send people that cost sort of £100-200 a time. It's a lot more inclusive and a lot better off for everybody involved. So it will improve accessibility to training resources, knowledge for RAGs, student greets, fundraisers that person to the National Student Fundraising Conference, uses an online platform which encourages engagement amongst registered attendees, and seeking collaboration with other student associations, which I think we can all agree was one of the big successes of the Student Ops Festival this year, was kind of bridging those gaps between us and other student-led organisations and the brilliant things that can come out of that. Any questions or clarity on anything?
Are there any hands? Anybody want to ask questions or want to talk against the motion or suggest amendments? The whole host of activities.
No.
No, okay. Cool. Can we do the vote then, please, Rosie? Thank you. Stop, sorry, guys.
feel like we need filler music for this bit. Maybe next year we'll get that.
I mean, there is still time to submit a motion about background music.
I don't know if we need a motion for that, Dennis. I feel like we can make an executive decision on that one.
I think I've managed to minimise. Oh, I brought it back. Okay, people to vote on this one. Right, this time I know people haven't left for at least one person, so we'll have 20 more seconds for the people who haven't voted.
I'm really enjoying Hetty's face as she reads the text.
Sorry, my friend sent me a video. Oh my goodness.
Rosie, we have a technical issue that the poll hasn't shown up for some people. But that's okay, because now, if the poll hasn't shown up on your screen and you're trying to vote, if you don't mind being unanonymous, you can message me and then I can include your vote.
Also, if you go to the bottom of your screen and click polling, you should be able to access it through there.
Okay, we'll say that. Oh, okay, cool. Becky, I've sent you a question in the thing. I don't know if you can see it. Thank you. Cool, and so this one is also good to go. This one has passed as well, so I should make a note of this one. So we're on 5, 7, 1. Cool. Wunderbar. Okie doke. So, so we should have one more motion, which has been submitted again by Becky, but we're just getting the correct wording for the poll before we start that one. If anyone opportunity to, or wants to propose any motions, you've got a 2-minute moment to think of one whilst we quickly arrange this.
To think and type it out.
Yeah.
And send it to Rebecca. Could we just appreciate the fact that this year the motions are actually like legitimate things and not rewording of the aim of a constitution that actually didn't reward anything? No shade on the previous motions tried to be passed at NaSFA AGMs.
I think
this is not very democratic, Dennis.
Right. I just to clarify, oh God. Dennis, I get your point. I understand your point. However, last year, the Constitution was the main structural problem that they were kind of tackling. And obviously, they made huge structural changes at the AGM. So there were some big changes. The fact that they got rid of all of the regions, the fact that you had an elected chair and not elected committee. They had a support committee as well. Lots of things were passed that have obviously really stood us in good stead for this year. I think now that we've got a solid foundation, what you mean is that we're moving forward strategically, I think is where you were going with that one, Dennis.
I was going to say that last year, the motions that were proposed, the structural changes and all that actually came out of the discussion of the original motions, but original motions that were put in advance, well, there was not like motion mechanism, but obviously what committee was going to change was slightly different from what I remember. But I mean, we'll move on. The past is in the past.
I really enjoy this silence. Is now making me feel more under pressure to do this.
I'm telling you, background music, okay?
Just to clarify what we're doing, just so it's not shady for everyone, Rebecca's just trying to work out the wording for the motion so I can put it in the poll so it's clear for everybody. But the poll is really annoying, so you can only have a word limit of like 250 characters. So trying to work that out. So it's a really good opportunity for other people to think of motions or ideas. So just give us a minute.
Or just generally have a chat about what you thought was good for the last year, what didn't go so well. Like, I can say honestly that we've really enjoyed it. I think it's been very stressful at times, but it's been a really, really exciting year. And I think last year, the previous committee, I'd imagine, were absolutely pooping themselves coming into AGM, whereas we were really excited to share with you what we've been up to, which is nice, a nice sort of place to be, I think, as an organisation.
Yeah, I know Maz and I said it in the chat earlier, but we just want to reiterate that we think you've done a really great job this year. You've really turned things around. I know that speaking on behalf of previous Loughborough representatives, we haven't always been in favour of NaSFA.
Well, I was going to say that's a bit of an understatement.
But you have our, like, speaking for Maz and myself anyway, you have our full support, and it's been really amazing to see the changes that you've made and how far you've come in a single year. So congratulations to the whole committee. Yeah.
That's going front and centre in the minutes, by the way.
I think that should be like our front page on the website as well. Loughborough.
That is very kind of you to say. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's nice to see that the effort that we're all putting in is actually having some reward. I think because it would be very easy in the voluntary sector to kind of put all that amount of effort in and then it not really pay off or not really do much. Especially when COVID hit, we were like, oh God, we can't do a conference, we can't do X, Y, and Z. But actually, yeah, you've all done brilliantly, and it's been really nice. Yeah, anything. Is there anyone here that's considering getting involved in committee or wants to know a little bit more about what it means to be in? Yeah. Oh, Hetty. Okay. Do you want to know any? Do you want to ask any questions, Hetty? This is like prime opportunity, because if you're going to ask something, other people are probably wondering it as well.
Yeah. I haven't thought too much about what specifically I'd like to do yet, but I was chatting to Rhiannon about it the other day. After our roundtable discussion, because I felt like that really made me aware of like all the changes that you've been making this year that we haven't necessarily seen, and it's just something that I feel like I'd like to get involved in, because as I kind of alluded to just now, you've made some really great changes, and if I can kind of support that in any way, I'd like to like try and help you to continue on that trajectory. And I think the more diverse range of rags that you get involved, the better. So I don't have any questions, or I will get in contact if I do.
Thank you. Yeah, it'd be really nice. And like I say, if anyone ever has any questions about it, of what it kind of means, any of the committee will be happy to talk to you. So I'm just refreshing the screen because I know that Rebecca's added some bits to it.
Oh.
Hey, there we go.
I mean, do I really need to present it after all of this, or I think Becky
should
can
I just talk about this one?
Yeah, 1 minute. I can get my timer.
Okay. Right. So obviously we're all aware of the Black Lives Matter movement, and it had an unprecedented effect and impact on the world, and specifically on the fundraising sector. As an organisation, NaSFA had recognised its position and contribution to an institutionally racist sector. In order to combat the discrimination which has been identified across the industry, NaSFA must commit to conducting an internal review of its structures in order to address these deep-rooted issues. This commitment must be upheld in a timely manner and reviewed periodically, as agreed by the membership, the outcomes of which must be communicated to the wider membership in a transparent way. NaSFA has been extremely transparent about the part it plays in the systemic discrimination in the fundraising sector. Within the sector of student fundraising, Black voices are severely underrepresented. 87% of fundraisers identify themselves as white. 2% Black, 3% Asian, 2% mixed ethnicity, and 5% no particular ethnicity. And that comes from the Institute of Fundraising data. These data is shocking, and NaSFA is the only, as the National Student Fundraising Organisation, must take the lead in changing these statistics. NaSFA must take the first step in addressing the problem by shining the spotlight on themselves and conducting an internal review of the structures with support from organisations who are experts within the area of diversity and inclusion. The outcome of this motion will see NaSFA, 1, implement an internal review of the structures and recruitment of committee and within NaSFA in order to increase diversity in the sector. Support RAGs in completing the same review and diversifying the makeup of all RAGs across the UK. Provide training and resources for all members on diversity and inclusion. This will be reviewed and the results disseminated in a timely and transparent manner as decided by the committee. I'd like to open that up to the floor because that's a huge statement there, and I think that it deserves quite a bit of conversation if you'd like to have that.
Does anybody have any questions or amendments or want to talk against the motion?
Any thoughts? Literally anything, whether you think that's a good idea, bad idea, necessary, what do you think about it? Do you think it's enough? Do you think it's not enough?
If I may say something, I think it's a very important motion to take on board. I just feel like it's not, it doesn't give us like a tangible thing of what we're actually gonna do. You know, I mean, it's relatively not, well, it is relatively vague in terms of how we're gonna approach the situation. You know, I mean, like, what were your exact plans? Like, what organizations you would want to contact with regards to it, and yeah, and how you're gonna like start, what your plan of starting work on it, like if it did pass, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's a huge undertaking, obviously, and it's not just us. I think that the first thing we need to do is understand where we kind of sit within that and what our structures are doing to influence the systemic racism that we have internally. I think that the way that we can do this is by a review, first and foremost, of the way that we recruit, the places we recruit, and the RAGs that we have within our membership and how we can help diversifying them. And that was the basis of my understanding, because we need a platform of kind of going, okay, what's the problem? How broad is the problem? How bad is it? From that point, I would bring other people in. So, for example, we've been in contact with the Institute of Fundraising and their Black network, which have really supported us and have said that they will continue to support us in our understanding, our resource sharing, our structures and systems. That would be a really imperative place to start, because look at the committee that we currently have. Our makeup is not diverse in the slightest. And we need to really start looking at ourselves before we can go out and kind of talk to other people about how they're going to diversify. I think in terms of tangible stuff, really it would come down to reporting. So I've talked about it being timely and reviewed and disseminated and being transparent. I think that actually that is tangible to begin with. We can't go, well, we're going to solve racism in front. That's not, can't do that. It's not realistic. What we can do is say within the next year we will actively recruit a more diverse committee, for example, or from a more diverse background. But these things will come from within this motion. This is simply a motion to go, this is what we want to do moving forward, and conduct an internal review to then set ourselves targets.
From Plymouth.
Thank you. Yeah, it's not necessarily in objection to, obviously, about conducting an internal review. I was wondering if you thought about the alternative and having an external review. We've had the exact same thought in Plymouth, and how we're going to combat it is a massive question that I don't think no one person or group can answer. So we've asked other people who don't know RAG, who don't know how we operate, the way we operate, or who we operate with, to come in and see and then give their opinion on it, so that it's not us talking about it and it's not us going, well, this is what we do and this is what we don't. And that way that we can hopefully have a couple of other voices. Is there an alternative that could not just be an external one in addition to this?
Yeah,
we could
absolutely.
propose that as an amendment, if you want to add that or change it to be that, we can vote on that.
I imagine Becky already thought of it, because if I wrote the motion, I wouldn't say internal review if I hadn't thought of external, so I imagine you would have thought of it.
The only reason that I didn't put external review as the motion is because then we'd be mandated to do it, and we don't have the funds currently to recruit an external reviewer. So my thinking was we conduct our internal review with support, and then if we were at a point where we could kind of have that, it'd be wonderful to be able to get somebody in to do that. Don't get me wrong, I'd want to do that, but it's quite costly, especially after the BLM. At the moment, everyone's, you know, looking for that because they all want to have an external review. But I completely take your point. Potentially there's something, so it happens in SUs all the time, where you go to another SU and you almost like do it in kind. So for example, we could ask a RAG or several different RAGs to externally review NaSFA, and then we do the same for them. That's a possibility as well.
That's exactly what we've done. We, instead of going above us per se to the CEO, we've gone sideways, and we've gone to different societies with more diverse backgrounds, not necessarily cultural ones, but sports ones as well, and gone, what do you do that we are clearly not doing? And they're asking the difficult questions that nobody wants to ask, that we really, really need answered. And then we can then help them, and it's good for us in expanding our contacts, but that's obviously a much smaller scale of operating.
Well, perhaps we could all work together on this if this motion did pass and we put it out to the membership and say, okay, looking at for more diverse RAGs across the country, how can you guys support us, and then how can we support you in turn? I'm interested to work with you on that, to see how you've done that in your union. Thank you.
That would be perfect, yeah. And then it would still technically be internal too.
Like that. So we don't need to change the motion.
Cool. So if there is no other comments or questions, I think we can go ahead and vote.
Whip out the poll.
Whip out the poll. If anyone has any other motions, we haven't had any others submitted, so this is your last opportunity as well. Thank you, Rosie. Oh no. If anyone has any issues voting again, you can send a private message.
Callum, I thought for a second you were talking about the motion, and I was just about to go like, no, you're a staff member, you can't. But no, you were just talking about the comments.
Okay, fab. Can see the comments, but I mentioned an organisation, and then Callum has also mentioned some other interesting resources. So if people are interested in their own RAGs, they can have a look in there. So we'll end this poll, and we will have also passed this motion. So that is congratulations. We've managed it. Wunderbar. Okay, cool. So I think that brings us to the end. I don't know why this keeps happening. If anybody has any other business, I think is the last thing, and then I guess we're done. Yeah. Any other business?
If there's no other business, I would just like to say, first and foremost, thank you for everyone attending. Thank you for all the students that have come, the RAGs that have come, and for your continued support this year as well. genuinely, it's been really appreciated. And of course, to the committee who have done everything above and beyond, especially with the staff and the students working together. It's been really, really good. And I hope to see a lot of you running for committee positions and applying in the next few months. Nice.
Thanks, everyone.
Question, a bit of on a tangent. Does anyone know like where the minutes for like previous AGMs and stuff are?
They're all on the website. They're all on the website. Everything's, if you can't see something, please just email us. Rebecca, do you want to give a quick update on the dates for elections? Just to remind everybody.
Yeah.
And so we've also got the awards as well coming up.
Yeah. So the dates for the elections. So the applications for the support committee, so that is if you are graduating and you are going to not be a student anymore, they'll open on the 3rd of August and they'll close on the 23rd of August. And that will be an application process. And then we'll go through the applications and assign people to streams. The applications for the student committee, so the unelected positions, will be the same process, and that will also open on the 3rd of August, the 23rd of August. And then applications to apply for elected positions also open on the 3rd of August to the 23rd of August. So that will be for the 2 co-chair roles now. Then we will obviously gather all those people that want to participate, and the voting for those positions will be from the 24th of August to the 31st of August.
Lovely. And anyone want to speak about the awards? Plug away.
We have awards. We worked hard to still give them and acknowledge people, and it's great because we got like just under 100 nominations, which was, I just think it was absolutely phenomenal. So thank you every single person who put a nomination in, and to those obviously who I think it was so good to see. We're posting kind of the not like shortlisted nominees over the next kind of few days. We're trying to spread them out enough for you, so we'll tag you in them. But make sure you turn up on the day. So that's next Saturday. God, time becomes a blur, but it's next Saturday. But tune in and support one another, because I think we're really starting this really lovely community here, and it'd be great to see how it all turns out and see if you win.
I'd encourage you all to like get dressed with your rock committees, have a Zoom call whilst like wait for them video or whatever media that are going to be uploaded, so you all can be still like enjoying yourselves like it would have been in a normal world.
Definitely grab a drink, get dressed up and have fun. Okay, brilliant. So just on closing stuff, these minutes will be available. The video recording will go onto YouTube, but we'll tag all of this on Facebook. If you've got any questions about anything to do with this, even after the call, please just email us or message us on Facebook or Instagram or anything really. We'll get in touch with you. Okay, and that is pretty much it. Thank you, everybody, and have a lovely evening, and we'll see you soon.
See you later, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.